What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of the new remake of The Witches. This film, of course, is directed by legendary filmmaker Robert Zemeckis. Before we begin, hey, if you like my channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button and comment below on any video that you watch, including this one. So The Witches is a remake or reimagining of the Roald Dahl book about a young kid who loses his parents, who goes to live with his grandmother. In the process, he is almost seduced by a witch, almost taken by a witch, and they end up going on vacation to this luxurious property. And in the process, this is where the Grand High Witch, as well as her minions, are going to have a conference to kind of take over the world and get rid of all the children. And in the process, we have, of course, the young boy who has no name in this movie, and he basically is turned into a mouse and plots his revenge to get back at the witches. So this idea of the witches, the Roald Dahl book, being made into another movie, I don't really have any problems with, because the original movie is dated in a lot of aspects, but it's still a lot of fun. It's still scarred as kids. So kind of updating the product and making it more truthful to the book, because the ending of the original movie is not close to the ending of the original book, which pissed off Roald Dahl apparently. And giving it a new look and feel, and giving a new a coat of paint or whatever is perfectly all right, as long as it's done well. So the problem with the movie, though, is it's been in development hell, which is when it's, kind of tossed around and never really given a green light. And it finally found a director with Robert Zemeckis, which is, it's fine. Robert Zemeckis has languished in his, later years of his career with, really not great films like The Walk and Welcome to Marwen. But he's a director I think is still competent for making interesting, cool films. And his kind of push for technology is always kind of fascinating, because like James Cameron, he's always trying to find new ways to kind of up the ante, I guess you could say. So this movie was made, and then we don't really hear anything about this movie for the last year, because I think it was filming for last year, 2019, and then we finally got a trailer a month before the movie releases, and I watched the trailer for this movie. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good. And of course, it got put on HBO Max because there was no way this movie was going to make money in the theaters. And it's a movie that really kind of makes me sad. It kind of makes me mad a little bit, because, as a film fan, especially a fan of the 1990 movie, and especially having being directed by Robert Zemeckis, it's a film that should work. It's a film that has Octavia Spencer and Stanley Tucci, has, of course, Anne Hathaway as the villain, and it's a film that just has no soul. I don't understand what happened here. I don't understand where did this movie go wrong? And I honestly think it truly is Robert Zemeckis' reliance on CGI. I think it's the fact that Anne Hathaway is trying to channel Angelica Houston instead of doing her own thing, and she feels so miscast in this movie. She is weird and goofy and so chewing scenery that it almost becomes like Razzie Award winning type of performance. It's so bad. And then on top of that, her face, which they have this really cool idea, which I don't know if it was in the book, because it's been a while since I read the book, but they have these lines which are similar to the Joker, where there's these cuts, and when her mouth moves, a whole thing moves, so it's almost like a big snake or whatever. It's a very cool idea, but the visual effects are very poorly done, and it looks bad, and it looks real not good. Bad and not good, I guess they're the same words, but it's really noticeable. And it's the same thing when we have Bruno and the young main kid in this movie. They turn into mice, and they look like CG. And then the cat, which is Hades, which is the Grand High Witch's cat, is very CGI and stuff like that. And it just looks like a rush job. It's I don't know what's going on with CG sometimes, but sometimes it just looks like they spend a week on it and then just throw it out there and hopefully it works. And it's just so noticeable. It really is. And that's been a problem with his films in the last, while. I mean, there were points in Welcome to Marwen where it was gorgeous, but there were points where it's that looks really bad. So I don't know what's happening here, but this movie really has no heart. Octavia Spencer in this movie just doesn't feel like she really cares enough to be in this movie, even though she's doing Octavia Spencer, which I think is another problem. A lot of these characters are doing them instead of doing a character. And I think Stanley Tucci is fine. It's probably the better of these characters, but he's not really in it that much. But the other thing that really bothers me, and once again, I'm trying to remember from the book, but there is a narrator that narrates a lot of this movie, which, once again, I hate narrators in movies. It just doesn't work a lot of times. And they added Chris Rock as the narrator, which I like Chris Rock, but Chris Rock has a certain tone about him. He's similar to like Kevin Hart, where there's a very distinct way that Chris Rock talks and the way he acts and the way his mannerisms play out that it really becomes like excruciatingly painful to listen to him talk in this movie. It's not saying I hate Chris Rock, because I don't, because I love him as an actor, but it's just like it's so grating. It really is. It doesn't fit the movie. There should have been no narration in this movie, to be fairly honest. It should have just been, here's the movie, we're presenting it, but it really took the movie down quite a few notches for me. And then, like I said, on top of that, it's a very similar to the 1990 movie, but it does at least add the ending from the book into this movie, so I give it that much credit. But once again, the CGI is terrible in this movie. The story is terrible. There's no heart. There's no love. It feels cold and mechanical. It feels like a production that just didn't really have any love put into it. The whole point of, what makes this story so good is the creepiness nature, the uncomfortable nature of what these characters are doing, especially trying to wipe out children. And you never get that feeling. You never get that like uncomfortableness. It just feels like a bunch of people just kind of going through motions. So it's a really disappointing film. It really is. It really kind of saddens me that just Robert Zemeckis he doesn't seem to have the touch anymore. I really can't wait for him to do something that just really kind of packs that punch like he used to know for doing, like with Romancing the Stone or Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But yeah, movie just not good. It really isn't. Really, really bad. So, but that's it. That'll do it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.